Hey there, guys. Welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. We're moving right along as we get to the weekend of February 17th, 1989. And this is when we're starting to get some of the good stuff back in theaters again. We've had a couple of weeks where we haven't had necessarily bad movies for the most part. We've had mostly forgettable movies, but most people forget that we used to live in a time where this is usually the time of the year where the real good stuff starts to come out again, and this weekend is no exception, because 5 movies opened up, and most of them were actually really good movies. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about. We'll start off with Tom Hanks in The Burbs from director Joe Dante. Yeah, this was Tom Hanks' second movie he made after Big made him a superstar. First was Punchline, which a lot of people don't like, but I don't know. I thought it was alright, but The Burbs is a very funny movie. It's a very underrated Joe Dante film. It's very dark. Well, I wouldn't say very dark. It's dark, but it's trying to be like a mix between Beetlejuice and The Twilight Zone, but in a good way. Like, there are a lot of moments in here that are really funny. So the visual look of the film is very nice, and it's what you expect from Joe Dante. And this is a really great movie, a really funny movie. Tom Hanks is very good in this. You got Carrie Fisher also in this. Corey Feldman is also in this movie, among some other notable names like Bruce Dern, Henry Gibson, Brother Theodore are in this movie, and yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's a really fun, over-the-top comedy. Like I said, it's a very good movie. It's definitely one I would recommend, obviously, but like I said, it's a very funny movie, very enjoyable film. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely go ahead and check that out. So that's just one of the comedies that opened up on this weekend. The other comedy is another one that also wanted to become a cult classic, and that is, of course, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's hard to believe there was a time that people actually thought this and Beavis and Butthead were going to be the downgrade of American society, and yet almost 30 years later, we're looking at this and Beavis and Butthead and thinking, well, these movies and shows were actually a lot smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. And Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I mean, what can you really say about this movie? It is stupid, it's over the top, it's goofy, but it has its own unique charm to it, and it's just funny, man. This is directed by Stephen Herrick, who would later go on to direct the 101 Dalmatians remake in '96, and of course, this helped to launch Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter into stardom. And these two just work off of each other so well. Like, even in this movie, and even in future Bill and Ted movies, when these two work together on any Bill and Ted project, whether it's the movies or the animated series where they were the voices in the first season, it just works. It's a ton of fun. It's so ridiculously stupid, and I think these people know how stupid this is. But in a way, it's so honest about it. It has a unique charm, and it can be really smart satirical comedy too. Like, there's just so many moments in this and the sequel that are just so hilarious and just stand up with the test of time. And a lot of it was also in the last movie that came out recently, Bill and Ted Face the Music, which really broke that curse of sequels that come way decades after the last film was released. But we'll eventually get to those movies later on. But Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, what more can I say? It's goofy, silly, fun. It's definitely worth checking out. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, James Woods in True Believer. So here you have James Woods and Robert Downey Jr. and Kurtwood Smith and Kurt Fuller in this. This was directed by Josh Rubin, who also would later go on to do Sleeping with the Enemy, The Good Son, and Money Train. And Wesley Strick, who would go on to write several other movies such as Arachnophobia, Batman Returns. He did the remake of Cape Fear from Martin Scorsese, but he also did a really great Amazon show, The Man in the High Castle, not too long ago. So this guy's got a good resume in terms of the scripts that he's written. Also, the show also spun off a TV spin-off called Eddie Dodd, starring Treat Williams in the title role that James Woods plays in this movie. And True Believer is a by-the-numbers courtroom drama, but still a pretty good courtroom drama. The casting in this works well enough. The actors do a very good job acting with a pretty much generic script, but overall, yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. It's not one I would say I'd watch on repeat. It's not one of the best courtroom dramas ever made, but for the most part, it's alright for what it is. It's a pretty good movie. I'd say definitely check it out if you get a chance to. So, that's True Believer. Let's move on to Denzel Washington and Robert Townsend in The Mighty Quinn. Quite possibly one of Denzel Washington's most underrated movies. This is a movie that was just coming out when Washington's star power was about to take shape. This came out the same year he starred in Glory, which won him the Best Supporting Actor Oscar the following year. He also did another movie shortly after this called Mississippi Masala, which a lot of people don't really talk about, but it's another really good movie. And I've said in the past before, I consider Denzel Washington to be one of the great living actors right now. I personally think he's my favorite actor working right now. And movies like this is it's part of the reason why. Like, this movie is amazing. This is a really good movie. It's a mystery, it's a comedy, it's a buddy movie, it's a spy thriller, it's a musical. It's all of that rolled into one, and it makes for a really enjoyable movie that not a lot of people really talk about. But when you see it, it just works, man. It's a really enjoyable movie. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it already. The Mighty Quinn, directed by Carl Schneckel. It also has Mimi Rogers, M. Emmett Walsh, Cheryl Lee Ralph, and as I said before, Robert Townsend's in this movie. Just a great, great movie all around. Very underrated film from Denzel Washington. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it already. So let's get on to the last movie, which is Paper House. Yeah, sorry for the sucky video quality on that one. That was the only bit of footage I could find on there that was as clean as I could get it in terms of the trailer. This is actually a movie that hasn't been released to DVD or Blu-ray here in the U.S. It's only been available outside of the U.S., but from the little bit I've seen here, this movie looks pretty promising. This is directed by Bernard Rose, who would go on to make Candyman, the original Candyman with Tony Todd. And, like I said, I haven't seen this movie because it's really hard to find, but from the little bit I've seen here, it looks pretty promising. This looks like something, it looks kind of like a mix between Terry Gilliam and Terry Pratchett coming together, like these incredible, unique visuals that are in this movie. The acting looks like it could be really good, and it's a very interesting dark fantasy film. And like I said, I haven't seen the movie before, largely because it's kind of hard to find. But it came out this weekend, so I feel like I might as well talk about it. I definitely want to see it at some point. Maybe if I can find an international copy online that'll work on my player, any of my DVD players or Blu-ray players, I'll definitely check it out. But, yeah, it looks pretty promising for what it is. If anybody has seen this movie, Paper House, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. And, yeah, maybe down the line, if I can find a good copy of it, I'll definitely check it out. So that's going to wrap it up for this. And looking ahead to what comes out the following week, it's not looking too good. I mean, most of the movies that I've seen on this list are movies that are below the top 14 movies that open up at the box office that weekend. So we got stuff like American Ninja 3, Bird Rigby You're a Fool, Toxic Avenger 2, which it'll be interesting to talk about a Tremor film on here, High Hopes, and Pow Wow Highway. So not looking too promising for the next episode. I'm just going to say that right now. So, anyway, that's going to be coming up on Sunday because, of course, tomorrow is the Movie Stop episode, and I'm going to go see The Batman tomorrow, so look for a review for that on tomorrow's show. But this next new episode of Time About the Movies will probably be on Sunday instead of Saturday. So, thank you guys for watching this one as usual. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page or check out the previous episode that we had. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one in a couple of days. So, thanks again, and until the next time I see you, take care.